What's happening? Week 5, TFL. Yours truly back in the saddle. Man, I tell you what, excited to be sitting in a chair today, especially knowing this is maybe only my only video of the year. Might get a second one down the line. But with that being said, man, let me first start off by giving a shout out to G Skrilla and SK. Kudos to you guys on the first two videos of the year. Jabroni, you suck. 25 to the pot for you, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, man, the videos thus far have been great. So hopefully I can match that. So sorry for the little bit of the pixelation here. We're on the Dell laptop, so you're getting a 2005 edition. But don't you worry, I'll have some special effects in store for you guys as the video goes on. So look, first things first, man. As far as the standings go, SK obviously sits up top at 4-0 right now, up there by himself. We got a few of us, me, Dino, and Garrett, sitting at 3-1. Other than that, man, a lot of guys at 2-2, 1-3. Jabroni got his first win of the year, so no goose egg for him. So at least that's a good sign of things to come. That we're 4 weeks in and nobody's sitting there with a giant goose egg. So that's awesome. I want to kind of change it up a little bit this week. I think it's always pretty cool that each person has their own flavor for the videos. So what I did was actually, what's cool about fantasy is right now about this time is when you start to kind of like look back at that draft board and be like, man, if only I would have drafted him, if only these would have played out a little bit differently, etc. So what I did is I actually put in here, if only you would have drafted him. And so I'm just going to kind of go 1 through 12, man, and just a quick little synopsis. So, I mean, as far as Jabroni goes, man, if you would have taken Josh Allen over Jahmyr Gibbs, I think it would have set your team up much better to have a stable quarterback. Right now, you're playing musical quarterbacks. I believe you just traded for Russell Wilson. So we'll see how that plans out. But obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs, time will tell on him. But I think if you went to Josh Allen, it would put you in a better position. As far as Skrilla goes, man, good draft. Obviously, a lot of your first picks look pretty solid, but Drake London just doesn't seem to pan out. I think Ayuk, if you would have taken him over Drake London in round 7, probably would have put you in a better position to have a good wide receiver too, which means kind of seems to be, maybe your only weakness right now. As far as SK goes, same thing, pretty solid draft. I think for you, I know you rolled the dice on Odell a little bit early in round 8. Odell's just not Odell anymore, man. So, I had, if you would have taken Nico Collins, Alex, you're welcome. For those who don't know, Nico Collins is wide receiver 6 right now in fantasy. So actually, I got the worst end of that deal with Michael Pittman. But nonetheless, SK, if you would take a Nico Collins over Odell, certainly would have added you some solid depth. As far as I go, mine's pretty obvious right here. If I just would have pulled the trigger on Keenan Allen instead of Christian Watson, had high hopes for Christian Watson. Plenty of time left in the season. I still think he can get rolling here, but Keenan Allen just on a different level, and especially with me having Justin Herbert. If I would have had them two, God, that connection would have just been absolutely magical. So that's my kind of one that I wish I would have drafted. Alex, for you, man, you should have reached and grabbed T.J. Hawkinson, man, over Cam Akers in the 4th round. I think we all believed that T.J. Hawkinson was going to be a top 3 tight end, but he certainly is the second option in Minnesota. My boy Captain Kirk slinging it 40 times a game. Just the volume, the target shares there. Cam Akers, obviously, me and SK Orange on draft night. I hate that dude, man. That was a little bit of a landmine there. But nonetheless, at least he got traded to Minnesota. We'll see if he can at least bounce his way up into flex consideration here at some point during the season. Dino, for you, man, I just said his name. You should have taken Justin Herbert, man, over Justin Fields. I think you got the wrong Justin, unfortunately. So I know you waited an extra round, and I want to see what came back to you. But Justin Fields just hasn't been the guy. Certainly I think in the second half of the season, as the Bears maybe figure it out, he'll continue to hopefully find his traction. But obviously Justin Herbert, man, he's QB1 right now. He's absolutely killing it. So I think that would have put you in a much better position because that seems to be your only weakness right now is just having a solid quarterback. Casey boy, you wait around for Deshaun. If you'd have pulled the trigger on David Montgomery, man, he's absolutely killing it. So I have David Montgomery over Deshaun, and then obviously even grabbing a wide receiver earlier, like an A.J. Brown over Travis Etienne would have set you up better. Naughty boy, 2 over Dak, man. Dak's just not the same guy. If you would have taken 2 over Dak, I think all of us had an idea that the Dolphins might be this explosive, but Tua is just absolutely setting on fire. I mean, there's arguably that he's the MVP frontrunner right now. So I think they'll cool off eventually, but man, as long as he stays healthy, he's diming it up. Bud is for you. I mean, I guess this is a little bit of caveat because he did get hurt. But Tyreek over Saquon. Reek's just on a different level, man, when it comes to scoring. He's definitely going to be wide receiver in the top three for the rest of the season. Saquon always had injury concerns, but between that and then how terrible the Giants' offense looks, I just unfortunately that's going to be a struggle bus for the rest of the season. Luke, as far as you go, man, either Dolphins running back would have been better over A.J. Dillon, man. Raheem Mostert or Devin Ashane, man. A.J. Dillon just sucks. I hate to say it. I've been holding on to him in Dynasty for quite some time, man. Dude, even when he gets his shot and Aaron Jones is out, the dude just can't produce. And that's a shame because he's talented, he's young, he's powerful. You see some flashes, but, dude, he just doesn't get it done. So, A.J. Dillon, out on you. But, yeah, if you would take one of the Dolphins running backs, especially Devin Ashane, I think his sky is the limit for him. Dylan, for you, man, you went back-to-back running backs in rounds 5 and 6. You took Javonte Williams and Khalil Herbert. I think, downstream you could have taken David Montgomery and Isaiah Pacheco. Did a little 2-for-2 swap out there. Those two guys are definitely better suited to score for you. Javonte, I think, is just not the same guy. And so maybe he can help out in flex consideration, but I think he's like a 12-point touchdown-dependent type guy for the rest of the season. And then Khalil, look, man, the Bears suck, and I still have high hopes for my boy Roschon Johnson. So I know he did pretty well this past week, but it's a little iffy on him. And then finally, Chuck, man, I know you had to reach on Dalvin because you believe in Breece Hall, so I hear you. But, I think taking a guy like DeAndre Swift or Brian Robinson around that round 6 would have put you in better position. So, with that, I just want to kind of give you my 2 cents on, just kind of, hey, if you would have done it different. I know everybody kind of has, thinks about it a little bit and what have you. So, one other thing, too, obviously, we have the rivalry weeks. We really try to establish that for some side bets. So I haven't heard a lot of chatter about that, so that's kind of a little disappointing. So let's kick that back up. But I will say that we had the first one last week, so that was a Jabroni and Naughty. So I'm going to ping you guys in the text and see what y'all bet on. But obviously the Jabroni stole that one this past Monday night with the Seahawks D, got his first dub. And then coming up in week 7, we got me and Alex, we got SK and Garrett, and Casey and Chuck all in week 7. And at week 8 is Dylan and Luke. And then week 9 is Butters and Dino. So I'll go through last week's scores. I'm going to kind of do that real quick, man. I got another little thing I want to do for you guys. But I'd rather spend time kind of talking about projections and what the teams look like moving forward. So with that, I know I said I had a little special treat for you, man. So once again, not that I'm on the marketing game like Alyssa is. No offense to my wife, but, here you go. Boom! So check that out, man. So here we go. Now you can at least see what I'm looking at. So obviously last week, man, you check it out. So me versus Butters, I got him by about 40 here, 35. Justin Herbert produced for me. Big week out of Mark Andrews, 2 tutties. Butters, man, just still flat. Most of that's due to Joe Burrow. CeeDee Lamb still has been kind of just not hitting his ceiling this far. And then Butters is just struggling for a running back too. So he got whooped up pretty good there. The next game you look at, Casey Boy got him 2 wins in a row. He beat Dylan by 13 points. As far as Casey goes, even though he rolled with Danny Dimes, man, he had enough production. I mean, like I was talking about Ayuk just a minute ago, 19.8 points. He got 17.1 out of Kamara. Houston's D stepped up. So just kind of like consistent scoring for Casey all around. Dylan just not enough. Like I was talking about Javonte, I know he got hurt with a hip flexor. 2.8, went down early. At least those good signs of life out of Josh Jacobs. But Pittsburgh D -7 against Houston. That's pretty pathetic. So Dylan, unfortunately, you took the L, dropped you to 2-2. We got God's Gift in the Greek. So SK got him by about 16 points here, 167 to 151. Huge game out of Josh Allen, 5 tutties. Derrick Henry had 2. So that was pretty impressive. Really, that kind of set the way for SK's team, along with Swift and Houston's D. Jacksonville's D looked pretty solid. Alex, man, solid week out of you. Like I was telling for you, 2 worm backs, man. Pacheco and Kyron Williams both had 32 points. That's super solid. Huge game out of Nico Collins, 168 and 2 tutties. But unfortunately for you, it wasn't enough. So you take the loss, and it brings you to 1-3. But looking up to Alex, good. I think teams got a bright spot. The next up, we got the rivalry week, like we talked about, the Jabronis, man. He got naughty on Monday Night Football. For those of y'all didn't see this, man, Seattle just absolutely destroyed Danny Dimes. They got 42 points, had a tutty. I think it was like 11 sacks. That's absolutely unheard of. Other than that, I mean, Justin Jefferson really kind of paved the way for Chris. As far as naughty goes, man, he's been rolling with Brock Purdy in the captain's seat. I think he's a consistent 25, 30-point kind of guy. Chargers D did solid for you, but unfortunately for you, Naughty, Debo, man, he just kind of let you down, man. 1.2 points. So unfortunately, that wasn't enough for you, Naughty boy. Drops you to 1-3, and Jabroni gets his first dubs. Next, we have Chuck and Luke. It's always a fan favorite. Beat my boy Luke. So Chuck got him by solid margin here, 137-91. Chuck rolling with Anthony Richardson right now, man. I like it. 33.6, had 3 tutties. Huge game on a Stephon Diggs. I think you've been kind of waiting for that for 3 weeks now. So 3 tutties for him. Minnesota's D shine. Jordan Addison, goose egg. That's kind of a little bit alarming, but I think you have other people on the bench that maybe you can put in that spot. As far as Luke goes, he rolled the dice on putting the Love Boat in at QB. Actually scrambled his way to 20 points despite getting their heads beat in by Detroit on Thursday night. Did that over Lamar Jackson. Had 4 tutties. So Luke, certainly not smart on your part. But I don't think that would have saved the day for you, Luke. You just need some running back help, man. Like I said, A.J. Dillon sucks. So, Luke, you dropped to 1-3, and then finally the big scoring event of the weekend, the track meet, was Dino against Vaginosaurus Rex. Dino got him 214-162. Just everybody essentially went off for Dino's team. David Montgomery, like I talked about, 3 tutties. A.J. Brown, 175 and 2. Bijan still hadn't found the end zone yet, but nonetheless, he's been 100+ in 2 straight games here. He's pretty much a lock at 20+ per week. And then Russell Wilson side. And so you cash in on him just in time, Dino, to get Tyler Algier. So Dino gets him a dove, move him to 3-1. So let's move into week 5. I'll spend a little bit more time talking about these and kind of dive into the team. So the matchup, so me versus Dean. And I kind of wanted to also highlight a few players. So I'll kind of show you how I want to do that. So to start, man, obviously, like I talked about with some of the players, we just have studs and duds. And so with that, man, we're gonna accentuate that by hitting some of these guys with straight duds. And then, of course, I got some starbursts for the studs, man. So I'll go through my team first. Let's start with the duds, right? So Najee Harris, dud. He sucks, man. I mean, literally just very disappointed in him. Unfortunately, I have to just see this thing play out. I know he kind of did well in the second half of the season last year, so I'm hoping for the same. Other than that, man, I will hit my boy with a little pinky starburst, Brian Robinson. Definitely outkicking his coverage right now. Super excited about him. And then 2 starbursts, 2 pinkies for my boy Justin Herbert. QB1 right now, just absolutely setting it on fire. As far as Dino goes, got to do the same. 2 starbursts for my boy David Montgomery. He's matching a lot of what Jamal Williams did last year, just touchdown machine for the Lions. Got a good O-line. Other than that, Dino, I'll hit you with another one for Puka Nacua. And then how about I hit you another one for A.J. Brown? But I will hit you with a few duddies for Justin Fields. Like I was telling you earlier, I just don't think he's the guy. In terms of like being that reliable top 8 type fantasy quarterback. I think it's just going to be every week. And if you want to ride that roller coaster, man, props to you. So right now it has Dino projected to give me by 12. It's going to be a tough week for me, but obviously I got to go myself. So Dino, I'm thinking I snag you. The next one's Casey in SK, God's gift. So with that right now, SK looks down a little bit. So 119-111. So let's talk about SK's team a little bit. I guess I got to give the burst here to Raheem Mostert. So burst for him, man. Obviously been setting it up at one point, before last week. He was RB1, but as we knew it, he was going to get grounded and come back to earth between Devin Ashane and then eventually Jeffy Wilson's going to work his way into some sort of rotation. So Mostert's value, unfortunately, goes down. Fortunately for SK, he has Jonathan Taylor waiting in the wings, so we'll see if he can do anything. And then I guess I'll give a good old starburst to Swifty. I thought Gainwell was going to kind of be the guy, but he looks like the lead there, and so he's going to be solid for you moving forward. Casey boy, for you, man, a lot more duds, man. So definitely dud at the QB, Deshaun and Danny Dimes. That's pretty poor. Unfortunately, being a Saints fan, I got to hit him with a triple dudder. Juwan Johnson, man. Just such a shame. I had high hopes for him coming into the season. I feel like he literally has maybe 3 catches on the entire season. Just not what we expected out of him. And then obviously Austin Eckler, man, he's just been, a dud as well thus far, just being injured. So with this, I guess I got to continue to lean with SK. I think Josh Allen has a good matchup against Jacksonville. He can put up some big points. I just see SK inserted Scary Terry into the lineup. So, with that, I guess he had a big week last week. So maybe that'll keep the trend will continue. So we'll give SK the nod on this one. Unfortunately, I say he moves to 5-0. The next one we got is a matchup of the Myers. They've been getting lucky on Monday Night Football here for a couple weeks. So right now, Fear the Beard is projected to get Chris 116-97. Now, granted, Chris doesn't have a QB in, so those projections are probably about even. I'm going to give the early going to the Jabronis. It looks like Javonte Williams might not play this week, which is cool. So let's talk about just some of the studs. Obviously, for you, Jabroni, no doubt. Jetta's just been everything that we expected. Wide receiver, I don't know, he's wide receiver 1, but he's just lighting up every single week. I will say another dud, though, is Mike. Old Mike Thomas, man, just dud on that one. It sucks because, we saw what he did 3 years ago. And, I mean, just ever since he got injured, just not the same form. You were hoping that he could at least have some possession touchdowns, but that doesn't seem to be the case either. So, little struggle on that one. Fear the Beard, man. I'll tell you what, might not pick up of the year, but Starburst to Sam Laporta. Definitely the option number 2 in Detroit. I know we expected a lot more of the volume to kind of go to Jahmyr Gibbs outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown. But Sam Laporta, man, looks pretty solid. He's going to be a serviceable tight end for the rest of the season. And then other than that, I mean, I guess I got to give it to Devontae Adams. Had some concerns that with Jimmy G getting over there, his production wasn't going to be the same, but he's still lighting it up pretty good. So, I don't know if I'm going to give the nod to on this one. Let's call it Dylan. Just, you suck, Jabroni. You're supposed to trade with me. Captain Kirk, what the hell happened? All right, we'll move to Chuck and Alex. So Chuck and Alex right now, deadlocked, 126 apiece right here. So let's go through it. So Chuck, man, stud for you, Anthony Richardson, man. Give him a double starburst on that one. He, certainly, 28.7 points, man. Didn't really expect that, but obviously he does so much with his legs. That just the production's there. Other than that, I hate to say for the dud, Chuck, it's just Dalvin. He's going to get to a point where he can almost be released in a free agency. I know you got to hang on to him just because of Breece Hall's health. But yeah, Dalvin just kind of dudded out on you. And, still upside for Kelsey here moving forward. As far as Alex goes, obviously I talked about him earlier. Give a starburst to Tua. I'm going to give a double starburst to Kyron Williams. Man, he's just probably the pickup of the year. $41 in free agency. Well worth it, Alex. Literally changed the course of your team by picking up Kyron Williams. As far as a dud for you, Alex, I think this one's pretty obvious. He's going to get hit with a Najee type. Darren Waller. I was high on him coming into the season just like everybody else, but man, that guy just looks lost out there. Super talented, super athletic. And part of it is just the Giants offense, but you might want to think about getting a Hunter Henry type or somebody. And I don't know, man. It sucks that you have to play him every week because he just hasn't produced. So as far as this one, I'm going to roll with Alex. I think it depends on Kyron Williams' health, but I'll give Alex the nod on this one. Next one we got Butters and Naughty. Right now we're at 112 for Butters, 127 for Naughty. Naughty's team's looking pretty strong. Got a couple solid ponies there. Tony Pollard, Madison, and James Conner all projected over 15 points. And then still Brock Purdy. Now he is going against Dallas, so we'll see kind of, what he's able to do with them. So let's talk about studs for Naughty. I don't know that anybody's just a stud, because Tony Pollard hadn't just been showing out like I thought. But I'll give the first stud to James Conner. Every year, that was a dud. Sorry, we'll give him a stud. We'll give him a starburst. He still produces. We thought Arizona was going to be crap, but he finds a way to produce. So give him a stud. And as far as a dud for you, Naughty, I don't know, man. I guess I would just have to say Dak. I just don't think he's going to be, going to do much for you. For Butters, unfortunately, dude, you know where this is going, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Joe Burrow, man. Joey B just not showing out like we thought. Projection's still high. But the season's long. If you can kind of at least string together a couple wins, man, maybe he'll pan out for you down the stretch. I will give you a starburst for James Cook. James Cook is certainly the lead guy in Buffalo, doing big time things there, producing a lot of yards on the ground. So good for him. Other than that, Butters, I think your team's just kind of even keel. So even keel, it's not even a good word. You suck. I mean, if you want to be honest. So yeah, Butters, you're gonna take another loss. So I'm gonna give the nod to Naughty on this one. I think my boy Naughty gets his second win of the year, and Butters, you stay at the bottom of the barrel. And then last but not least, we got Garrett and them boys. So Garrett right now projected 133, Luke 117. So let's just talk about Skrilla. He's got a few of them. So obviously, man, double starburst, Devin O'Shane, man. If he ends up being the lead guy in Miami and they keep playing like this, and Mostert and Jeffy don't cut into his workload, man, that is so huge for you. Obviously Ramondre, a little bit of a disappointment, so I'll give him a dutter. Just hadn't seen the touchdown workload or the passing volume that we expected. Oh, let me just give the whole bag of starbursts here. So Christian McCaffrey, I mean, my God, right? Just absolutely insane. So Christian McCaffrey just on a different planet. And as far as them boys, like I talked about, Dutter with A.J. Dillon, Luke, you got to get rid of him. I'll give you about that same type McCaffrey love on Reek. Just absolutely beast mode for Tyreek. And then Calvin Ridley's kind of come back to earth a little bit. So Skrilla, I'm going to give you the nod on this one, and I think you move to 4-1, and them boys sings to 1-4. So, boys, man, great episode, great show. I'm looking forward to it. Alex, you're up next, man. So here you go. Toss you to rock. Let's make some side bets. Excited about week 5. Really starting to separate the cream from the crop. So here we go. Let's have a great week. Holla.